Today's video is going to be all about creamy, milky, lactonic fragrances. So if that's your kind of thing, then please keep on watching. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if it's the first time you're visiting. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name's Hayley and I review fragrance. As I already mentioned in the intro, today's video is going to be all about creamy, milky, lactonic fragrances. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into the first fragrance. So when I think about this category, the first fragrance that springs to mind is none other than commodity milk. Now, this doesn't smell like milk. Do not let the name put you off, but it has this kind of creamy lactonic feel to it. What you're going to get is roasted marshmallow, tonka bean, and this kind of woody mahogany vibe. It truly smells like you are roasting marshmallows around a fire pit. That is what I'm getting from this. And if you didn't know, commodity comes in 3 different scent spaces. So for milk, as an example, this is the expressive range, which sits in the middle. You also have the personal range and you have the bold range too. And what that means is scent strength in terms of projection, longevity. I love all 3 of them. What I will say is the smokiness gets amped up the higher you go within the strength profile. So I like the middle ground personally, but as I said, I do love all 3. And it truly just brings me to a place of roasting marshmallows around a fire pit. That is what I get from it. There is lots of creamy tonka bean in here too. It's creamy, milky, lactonic, but without smelling like actual milk. It more smells like the marshmallow has been melted down and it's really, really creamy. They do amazing discovery sets too, but when I think about this category, this is definitely the first one that springs to mind. It's been a favorite in my collection for at least 3 years now, and this is my 2nd bottle of it. Tried and tested, love it truly. So yeah, the first fragrance was commodity milk. The next fragrance is from Liquids Imaginaires, and this one is called Blanche Bete. Now, I haven't worn this one as much as I expected to wear it. It was very, very hyped up mid-year. I think the first person that I saw speaking about it was Sharida, and she had me in a little bit of a chokehold when she was talking about this one. But I was wary because it has a tuberose note in there. But the way she described this fragrance, I couldn't stop thinking about it, and I went through 2 10 ml travel atomizers of it, probably why I haven't used so much of this bottle. But since I've had it, I've only worn this one 2 or 3 times. However, I would highly recommend this one if you do like a kind of lactonic milky scent. It's not super creamy. I would say this one is actually quite airy, if anything. Now, the tuberose note is there, but I must say it's so subtle. If you're not a massive tuberose fan like me, you might be able to get away with this one. I barely detect it. It's actually very beautifully done, and it has this majestic feel about it. Now, it is a soft scent. Don't expect it to be in your face loud, but with that, it has the most gorgeous scent trail. People will definitely smell you wearing this one. And I said it feels a bit majestic, almost ethereal, and there is something about this that I can't quite pinpoint. Something about it that I find truly special. And it's one of those ones that you're definitely going to have to try for yourself. I get a really kind of milky, but it's a thin, milky vibe about it. I get light, creamy florals. I get a beautiful kind of vanilla touch, but it's very, very light and subdued. And then a little bit of a dusting of some type of cacao. It is a special fragrance. I'm sure many of you have tried this one already. I think people will perceive this one differently too, but I highly recommend Blanche Bete if you want something that is creamy and lactonic, but not too in your face. It's more soft and subdued, but still will leave a great scent trail. Next up is Jousset, and this is the newest fragrance, Le Gourmand. And this is a very, very milky, creamy lactonic fragrance, but it goes in the chocolate direction. This is a chocolate scent through and through, but I felt like it fit the vibe of this video because it is really creamy and lactonic. But you are going to have to really enjoy chocolate in your fragrance to enjoy this one, because this is straight up hazelnut spread to me, or Nutella. That is exactly what I get from it, with lots of creamy hazelnut. One of the most edible fragrances in my entire collection. It's so well done. I don't know how they've quite captured that scent, and it takes me back to a place where I used to eat Nutella on toast. Warm, buttery, chocolatey, milky. Truly impressive in my opinion, and if you are a gourmand lover, this is one that you are going to need to get your nose on and really experience it. I will link somewhere where you can get a sample below, but it's definitely a very milky, creamy fragrance and one of the best chocolate fragrances that I have personally ever smelt. Next up is Hermetica Tonkandy, and this is a very different type of milky scent. This time, I would say this one is not necessarily lactonic, but it is very creamy and milky in my opinion. But think caramel, milky caramel. And we have a sweet here in the UK called Werther's Originals. I don't know if they have it anywhere else in the world. And it's this butterscotchy caramel milky sweet. And this is what this smells like to me. The name is great, Tonkandy, because this definitely smells like tonka and candy with caramel, with vanilla. It's really, really sweet. I get fruitiness in here too. So delicious. Another one that the gourmand lovers are going to eat up. But for me, I mostly get that kind of toffee, caramel, butterscotch vibe that's really milky. The tonka bean is actually a little bit more subdued compared to those kind of caramelly toffee notes, and you get lots of candy. So yeah, this is another one I would recommend sampling if you want a milky lactonic fragrance that's just a little bit different from a traditional milk type fragrance. Next up is Piano Santal by L'Orchestre Parfum, and I wanted to mix it up with the scent profiles, and this is a very creamy, milky sandalwood fragrance. I wouldn't necessarily call this a lactonic fragrance, but it is definitely very creamy and milky. Now, you have to really enjoy sandalwood for this one because sandalwood is front stage and center, but in the most creamy, milky way. One of the most beautiful sandalwood fragrances that I've ever smelt. Yeah, it's straight up creamy, milky sandalwood to me. It makes a great layering scent too. Now, I don't often wear just straight up sandalwood woody fragrances myself, but I do think this is such an incredible sandalwood fragrance. And sometimes sandalwood can be quite challenging. Think Le Labo Santal 33. That is a sandalwood fragrance that I just do not vibe with. I don't get any of that kind of pickle smell with this. I just get that milkiness from the sandalwood. There's some warmth in there too. It feels very natural and it's like cocooning your skin when you wear it. Very skin-like, a woody skin-like fragrance. I would absolutely adore this in a body wash or a body cream. I think that would be absolutely beautiful. But yeah, if you're looking for a more milky, creamy, woody fragrance, this is the one that I would recommend sampling. Switching up the scent profiles again, the next fragrance is Ylang in Gold by Micallef. Now this is a very tropical floral fragrance, but I find this really lactonic, really milky, and really, really creamy. I've described this as smelling like a smoothie or like a pina colada type of cocktail. And I do get this kind of banana vibe from it too, which probably comes from the Ylang. Now this, I forgot to say, this is the Nectar version. I have both the original Ylang in Gold and the Nectar version. So it's slightly stronger and more concentrated. And they both have similar vibes. But I would say the Nectar version is even more creamy. This is so delicious. will absolutely be a staple for me in spring, summer, and if I go anywhere on holiday that has a beach. I took the original Ylang Gold with me on honeymoon when I went to Mauritius. I didn't have this one at the time. I probably would have taken this one if I did have it at the time. There's lots of yellow florals in here, so it's definitely a floral fragrance. There's kind of like candied tropical fruits. There isn't a banana note listed, but I get like a creamy banana pina colada cocktail from it with coconut milk. So delicious. A different take on creamy and lactonic again, but this one is for the floral lovers. The next fragrance is Lost in a Dream by Navitus in collaboration with Paulina Shah. And this is such an incredible creamy lactonic milky fragrance. I believe it actually has a milk note listed in here. And I have reviewed this a couple of times already, but it's definitely fitting for this list. Now, a lot of people are getting croissant and milk from the composition. It's not necessarily what I get. I more so get marshmallow and woods. Very, very creamy with some cinnamon dusted over it or nutmeg. Almost like, I guess I get the milk when I talk about it like this because it reminds me of a glass of warmed milk with cinnamon. I'm not saying it smells like milk because I don't drink milk. I don't even like the smell or taste of normal milk. I am a nut milk lover, but it reminds me of having, let's say, an almond milk which has been heated up with some cinnamon. I do get the marshmallow though, and the beautiful woods in the dry down. Now, I have said in another review that I do think it is similar to commodity milk. However, there are differences between the two of them. They dry down very differently. They smell a little bit similar in the opening. When this one dries down, that warmth from the wood starts to come through, and I do start to get a slight pastry accord. It's super, super delicious. This one is lactonic mostly, milky secondary, and then a little bit creamy. You're getting that fluffy marshmallow too, so absolutely deserves to be in this list. One of the best Navitus releases I've ever smelt, and I really, really love it. And last but by no means least, we have Kayali Yum Pistachio Gelato 33. I haven't spoken about this one in a while, but I wanted to add it into this video because I get a really creamy lactonic vibe from it. I know some people get a fresh vibe, but if you do have a sample of this one or you have a bottle of it and you haven't smelled it in a while, go back and sample it because mine has got stronger. It has 100% got stronger. Even the juice inside I can see has darkened. This has become even more creamy. You still do have a freshness in the opening. I still do get florals too, but that whipped cream creaminess, pistachio vibe has got stronger. And I find that with a lot of Kayali fragrances, you have to let them sit for a little bit. You have to let them macerate. The juice only gets better over time, just my experience. And I loved this when it first released. I was one of the people that did love it, but I love it even more now. So creamy, so fresh, and it does give me a gelato vibe. Now, the pistachio isn't massively front stage and center, but you are getting some of the other notes. So I am getting the hazelnut, I am getting a little bit of rum, I am getting that whipped cream, and I am getting the marshmallow. So this is definitely fitting for the list. I urge you to go back and try your sample if you haven't tried it for a while, but this is a milky, creamy, lactonic delight. So those were all of the fragrances that I wanted to go over today. Let me know what you thought about some of these fragrances that I mentioned, but what I want to know is what are your favorite creamy lactonic fragrances? I'm hoping to find some new recommendations in the comments, so please do let me know your favorites. But thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure as always. I hope to see you in a future video to come. Thank you so much and goodbye.